further analysis, we're joined from Amman by economist and specialist in oil and energy affairs, Amr Shubaki. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on the Economic Bulletin. Firstly, sir, let's start off by asking, how will the faster than expected global oil supply growth in 2025 impact the oil prices and the market stability in 2026?
For sure, in the name of Allah, it will affect the oil has a problem, and the change in oil, and in its beginning the tariffs from the American president, all of that, all of these questions in the oil world find difficult answers, and the vision is somehow difficult, and what's in the market, and the market need uh, after the change of the consumption way. There are different visions to affect the world organizations, and the 250,000 this year, and it's almost the same in the upcoming year. But there is an expected, which is this year 727, and the upcoming year will lowers, and this is the difference between the 2 years. The International Oil Organization, that resembles the consumers, believe that the need for oil in 2040 will lowers, and it will be near to 2030. This is the latest news for 2030. OPEC believe that the vision is different, and the world is always in need in oil in the upcoming years, up till 2050.
So what are the potential economic effects of a surplus when it comes to oil supply on both OPEC Plus and non-OPEC Plus members and the producing countries in general?
Sure, all of the countries that produce oil try its best to change its economy and its strategies to a better economy away from oil. It tried to depend on another economy, cause not to affect its money, and its after 2 years from the Russian-Ukrainian war, which affected different countries, and this year most countries witnesses uh, lowering in its economy, which what we see here. But according to the consumers, I think the prices are lowered this year, and it reduced the inflation, and to lower the interest.
So how might the ongoing or the new sanctions on Russia as well and Iran after the IEA's forecasts and global oil supply dynamics be affected? If new sanctions enter into the idea of Russian oil, will this affect the markets?
For sure, the Russian war on Ukraine. Do you mean the Russian war on Ukraine?
No, the sanctions on Russian oil that are being implemented now. You know, Donald Trump is, for instance, attempting to get the EU to put tariffs on countries like India and China who are importing oil from Russia. Do you think this is going to affect supply in general and Russia?
For sure, now after the sanctions on Russia, and after the markets were affected after the meeting, the American President Trump and Putin in Alaska, the markets wanted a change, and to end the sanctions on Russia and to get oil back to the market, but it didn't happen. And there are pressures on the Russian oil. So this led to a pessimism in lowering the costs in this period. If Russian oil was the, the, deprived the world from. And China will benefit from that if there is not stopping the sanctions in Russia.
Okay, well, now you talked, sir, a bit about the idea of tensions globally speaking. Now, in what ways could these geopolitical tensions disrupt the projected surplus when it comes to the oil market's balances next year?
I think the international market is changing by tariffs that Trump imposes. We witnessed a stop between Russia and China, and there are many countries that has high customs, Brazil, India, and all of that affects the international economy and the interest from the American federal in an indirect way wait for the result of the tariffs in America, and the American tariffs became indirectly the affect many products.
So how will increased OPEC plus production influence the global energy market and OPEC plus member economies going forward?
OPEC has a different vision. There are a meeting today to define OPEC's policy in the upcoming period. The OPEC says that there are growing need for oil, and the international economy is strong, and it began a second period, and it has optimism regarding the world needs, and it finds an increase in markets. It can held it by if there is lowering in the Iranian oil.
What role could the trade policies play in either mitigating or exacerbating the market imbalances caused by changes when it comes to the oil supply?
Where we talk about OPEC policy from a side and the international economy and the result of the American tariffs, all of these factors affect the world and the oil market, and there are different the economic increase in the world and what affects the international economic market, such as interest. And the markets affect the international economy and the production of OPEC and the production of other countries, and some geopolitical tensions that can stop or ban some of oil market, such as in Iran and partially in Russia and other places.
So how prepared is the global community in general if all markets and consumers are not going to receive the anticipated oil surplus, or it falls short and doesn't materialize? How will this affect global markets in general?
السوق العالمي. I think that it has different political and economic and social effects. Political, this situation led to, for example, meeting of Shanghai protests and the country's union to defend the American policy. Its policy in tariffs and sanctions is less in its effect on
yes.
such countries.
Sir, your point is clear there, but I have to cut you off, sir. Thank you so much from Amman. That was economist and specialist in oil and energy affairs, Amir Shubaki. Thank you for joining us and thank you for your insights.